All right, it's good to be with everybody today. We're going to talk about the secrets of how to use your time and achieve your goals and dreams. And so we'll be talking about 8 different steps. So right off the bat, let's get going. Let's talk about the power of asking for inspiration. Number one, that's the first thing you need to spend your time doing. Asking for inspiration and guidance through meditation, pondering, and prayer has provided me with some very powerful principles and truths. These principles of power basically have accelerated the rate of my personal development and also in my professional life. Here's a couple of examples. One that's not my own. It's the authors of Chicken Soup for the Soul. When Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield needed a title for their book of inspirational and motivational stories that they had compiled, Jack decided to meditate an hour a day in search of the perfect title. His approach was simple. He asked God to give him a title, and then he sat in silence waiting for it. Nothing came to him the first 2 days, but on the third day, a green chalkboard suddenly emerged in his mind. He watched as a hand appeared and wrote the words chicken soup on the board. He contemplated that for a moment. Then he asked what he assumed was God's hand, what does chicken soup have to do with this book? He heard your grandmother used to give you chicken soup when you were sick as a kid. Jack replied, but this book isn't about sick people. The voice responded, people's spirits are sick. That was in 1992, during the recession that accompanied the first Gulf War, and many people were indeed living in fear, hopelessness, and resignation. He played with the title, Chicken Soup for the Spirit, but that didn't sound quite right, and then he morphed it into Chicken Soup for the Soul, and he immediately got goosebumps. What his friend Mark likes to call God bumps. Jack says they almost always seem to accompany an idea that is deeply aligned with what is for my highest good. He immediately got up from meditation and told his wife, who also got goosebumps. Then he called Mark, who got goosebumps, and our agent, who got goosebumps as well. By the end of the day, the full title had emerged, Chicken Soup for the Soul. 101 stories to open the heart and rekindle the spirit. And the rest, as you know, is history for Jack and Mark. Let me give you another example from my personal life. Recently, just last week, I was speaking with an older woman who was struggling. This lady is as good as they come and has inspired many people. She knows that faith is a power principle. She knows that inspiration will come when you seek it. She has done this many times for others, and yet in her time of crisis, she found it hard to apply what she had been teaching everyone else. As I spoke to her, thoughts and impressions came into my mind of exactly what to say to her. She felt it, and so did I. This came because I had been thinking about and pondering about her and many others for about 3 weeks. 3 weeks seem like a long time in the world that we live in. We're kind of impatient at times because of the immediate gratification world that we live in. And yet, think of it, the exact words came in the very moment that they were needed. We must believe what we need will come in the very moment we need it. And it usually comes with what I call increase. You usually get more than what you were even pondering about. When it comes to the use of our time and accomplishing our dreams, the first step is asking for inspiration. Now, number two, define the direction and getting clear on your goals and dreams. Wanting clarity on correct principles and inspiration in life has provided the pathway to live a successful and a meaningful life for me. This may seem a simple thing to do, but you need to define direction. At this stage, how you get there is not as important. That seems to come over time. You need to get clear on what you want. You do this by writing simple statements that define your direction and focus. Writing allows you to clarify to yourself the why and the what in your life. I used to carry with me a small spiral notebook that would fit into my pocket, and when inspiration would come, I would write it down. Now, with technology, I use a note taking program where I keep my immediate thoughts and inspiration. I also write in a journal every day. It allows me to write my thoughts and ideas, it allows me to get clear on what I am thinking. Often, the first sentence that I write about a particular topic is not exactly written in such a way that I get it down about what I was thinking. It takes time to or at least refine my thoughts and my feelings and my dreams. And I know someone who writes statements of truth and sometimes takes 2 weeks just to draft uh, that one sentence so that they get it right. This can happen especially when the truth you are seeking needs to become clear to you. So write things down when those thoughts come to you. Transfer those thoughts to a journal and then keep working at it until you get clear and it defines the direction that the inspiration is sending you. Number 3, inspiration must be followed by acting and not being acted upon. We've talked about this, but let's talk a little bit more about it today. What I've noticed about inspiration is that it can come in quiet moments of pondering and meditation, but it can also come at some of the craziest times. And once you receive it, you need to act on it immediately. I remember one afternoon I was driving home from work. In my life at that time, I just finished my master's degree. Life was really good. It was about 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and one of my favorite burger places was just down the road. So I stopped by, picked up this amazing mushroom burger, turned on some music, and I was just headed home. In that moment, out of nowhere, came the thought that I needed to move so that I could adopt my next child. We've talked about this. And it took me by surprise, but I knew clearly it was inspiration. It honestly had took me back a little bit. We loved where we lived. It was the first home we'd ever built. Move. In my mind, I'm like, really? Now, because of my daily routine of study and meditation, I knew that this was inspiration and what we needed to do. So some people might call it that gut feeling, but I knew it was right. I immediately went home. I told my wife. She was shocked and wanted to ponder and think about it a bit. But all in all, she felt the same feeling that I did as I told her. So we immediately began to make plans to sell our house. And you know the rest of the story. It's in some of the other blogs that I've given. So we adopted our second son, Isaiah, 3 weeks after we moved, which was about 6 months later. Now, everything just fell into place as we acted. So that principle of acting and don't be acted upon. So let me give you just a couple things that fall within this particular principle. There has to be a daily routine that you adhere to. Consistency matters. I will kind of probably next week talk a little bit about this, but consistency really matters in applying correct principles. Taking consistent action on correct principles daily consistently leads to power in your life. And like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about this next week. Number 2 in this particular, act and don't be acted upon. What I call the 5 action items towards your dreams every day. You need to do 5 things that will move you towards your dreams and your goals every single day. All right, number 4, and our last one that we'll cover today, counsel with others. So I believe inspiration is scattered among us. And your capacity to not only counsel with those you trust, but also with those that are different from you, will determine whether you achieve your goals and dreams. Your success will be determined by the differences of others. Sometimes we fight against those differences. Those differences could be biological, cultural, socioeconomic, political, intellectual, even emotional. But counseling allows you to capitalize on the experiences and the inspiration of others that you haven't had yet. And you must you really need to come to know and understand that this is a source of achieving even greater dreams and goals. It allows you to see things you couldn't otherwise see. And it's a greater source of receiving principles and truth and identifying them. And therefore, it leads to solutions to problems that you're going to face along the path to your dreams. And sometimes other people have experiences that you just haven't had yet that's going to allow you to figure things out as you move towards accomplishing your dreams and your goals and using your time in such a way which you can accomplish those things. All right, that's the first half today, and we'll go through the second half tomorrow. Anyway, look forward to speaking with you and hope those 4 things really helped you quite a bit today. Let's go through them again. Number 1, step number 1, the power of asking for inspiration. It's the first thing you need to spend your time doing. Number 2, define the direction and get clear on your goals and your dreams. Number 3, inspiration must be followed by acting and not being acted upon. And number 4, you need to counsel with others, especially those that are different from you, so that you can have greater access to a greater source of principles and truth and identification. All right, we'll talk to you later, and hopefully this is a good start on a list that you need to put together of being able to accomplishing your dreams and your goals. Have a good one. See you later.